Good evening, everyone. Uh, Now we are going to start our fourth week uh, of our introduction to Buddhism class. As you already know that it is a 8 weeks course, and we are in halfway through the course today, and 4 more weeks to go. And I request you to join for the next couple weeks as well. Also, I try to send you a reminder over the weekend, and I think hope you all received my reminder last Saturday. I'm saying that because a couple people in the Facebook send me a message and asking the video for the previous week Dhamma talk, and I shared it on the Facebook page as well. I hope you received my email notification as well. If you didn't get it, please let me know, so then I know there is something wrong there. Uh, for today, I invited Bante Ahangamaratana Sirinayaka Thera to conduct the class, and Bante is joining from the Toronto Mahavihara Temple in Scarborough, Ontario. Probably you may know, probably you may not don't know that there's the oldest Sri Lankan temple in Canada. So Bante is the abbot of that temple and our mentor as well. So now I'd like to request Bante to introduce Bante's yourself and then conduct the class for us.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I thank Venerable Sirinanda, the abbot of the Atlantic Buddhist Vihara, for inviting me to give this talk today. I think, can you hear me?
Yes, Bante, we can hear you.
Yes. The topic, before I mention the topic, Bhante Sirinanda invited me to give a self-introduction. I am the abbot of the Toronto Mahavihara. I came to Canada in 1989. I have been here for about 30 years. So mostly I do my services in Sinhalese language. Anyway, Bhante Sirinanda invited me to give this talk in English. Anyway, I would like to give a knowledge on Buddhism. I think when you listen to my talk, you will get some information about the topic, so that it will be easier for you to uh, get more knowledge by listening and reading books. The topic assigned to me today is Brahma Vihara and Arthaloka Dhamma. These are Pali words. Don't worry, I will tell you the meaning of these words. I like to use Pali words because there are few reasons. One is the original language in which the Buddha preached Dhamma is Pali. So all Buddhist, Theravada Buddhist canonical texts have been written in Pali language. The third reason is it is difficult to find an English equivalent for the Pali words. That is why I would like to use Pali words. It is easier for you to memorize these words. Brahma Vihara. Uh, Brahma, we should know the historical background of this word. Most of the people know that in ancient India, the majority of the people believed in Brahma. Brahma is God. The, the concept of Brahma prevailed in whole ancient India. Even today, many people believe in Brahma. Mostly Buddha used the popular words for explaining the Dhamma. Buddha used those words and gave meaningful definitions. So he used this word, Brahma. And the other thing is, many people who became the disciples of the Buddha were Brahmins. So Brahmins entered the Sasana. Sometimes Brahmins came to the Buddha and raised questions. Most of the Brahmins uh, became Buddhist and followers of the Buddha. So when they listened to the Dhamma, Buddha used that word Brahma. Then Buddha said, Brahma means noble and sublime. Vihara means dwellings or states of living. Then Brahma Vihara means sublime states of living. Someone call it uh, divine abode. So when the Buddha said the Brahma Vihara means sublime dwellings, then the Brahmins might have been happy. So Buddha said, if you want to live as Brahma, practice these Brahma Viharas, sublime dwellings, these sublime virtues. Then they were happy, they practiced sublime dwellings. So Brahma Viharas, there are 4 Brahma Viharas: Metta, Karuna, Mudita, and Upekha. Metta means loving kindness. Karuna, compassion. Mudita, sympathetic joy. Upekha, equanimity. These are the sublime dwellings. When we look at the first word, metta, there is another word very close to this Pali word, that is prema. When you translate this word, you may translate it as love. Metta is also love or friendliness. Prema is also love. Now, our Buddhist people might have heard the word prema, pitu prema, matu prema, that is the love of the mother, love of the father. But the Buddha said, premato jayati soko. From prema, grief springs. Grief springs from prema. That prema, the word prema, when you translate the word metta as love, then you may be confused. That is why when we translate the word metta, we use the translation loving kindness, not the love. When you use the word love, only you may be confused because the Buddha said, Premato jayati soko. From love springs grief. It is amazing. The, when you have metta, you don't have grief. But when you have prema, you have grief. The reason is the mother's love is self-centered. It is a conditional love. Metta is not a conditional love. Loving kindness is not conditional. It is not self-centered. That is why Buddha said, Buddha did not say mettaya jayati soko. Buddha never said uh, from loving kindness uh, springs grief. Buddha never said so. From loving kindness springs happiness. So that is why it is very important. We should understand the importance of the word metta. There are excellent virtues conducive to noble living. These are the virtues: metta, karuna, mudita, and upekha. When you practice these noble qualities, uh, you will be able to banish selfishness and disharmony, and you promote altruism. So these are also uh, known as bounded states because they are virtues to be extended towards all beings, all living beings, without exception, irrespective of race, caste, color, community, creed, east or west, and so forth. There is no discrimination. That is how you should develop metta. We all have latent tendencies, defilements, defilements of diverse type. So it is natural for man to entertain unwholesome thoughts. Each and every defilement has its opposite virtue. It is possible to develop virtue to overcome and eliminate a defilement. Our powerful destructive evil in man is anger. The virtue that subdues this evil is metta, loving kindness. If you want to suppress or subdue this evil anger, you should practice loving kindness. Cruelty is another one. Cruelty is another evil that is responsible for many crimes prevail in the world. The compassion is its antidote. You should practice compassion, karuna. Then another evil is jealousy. That is the evil that poisons you. Mudita or appreciative joy is the remedy. There are two other characteristics of man. They are attachment to the pleasurable and aversion to the non-pleasurable. These two opposite forces can be eliminated by developing equanimity, upekha. These virtues tend to elevate man. They make you divine. They make you divine in this very life. They can transform the man into the superhuman. So if you want to practice metta, you should understand the drawback or danger of anger. When you see, when you understand the drawback of anger, then you will see the profit, benefit of practicing metta. On one occasion, Buddha says that if you are if you are a hot-tempered person, you are like a fire log burnt at both ends and foul in the middle. You know that in the ancient time in India, when a person died, the people collect some logs and make a heap of logs and put the dead body over there and burn. Even today in Eastern countries, they do it, they do it in a modified way. They uh, prepare decorated funeral fire and uh, put the dead body inside and burn it. But the thing is, the people don't use the fire log from the cemetery. They don't use for any purpose. But this is more worse because this fire log, the Buddha mentioned, the fire log, the mentioned by the Buddha is the fire log, both ends are burning. At the same time, in the middle, excreta is there. Then no one can touch. No one can touch in the middle or both ends. When you touch the ends of the log, you burn yourself. When you touch in the middle, you don't like to touch because it is filthy. The person, the hot-tempered person like that, no one can reach him. He is a repulsive person. So when you come closer to him, it will be a danger. It will be a danger. Sometimes you don't like to appreciate, you don't like to associate with a person like him. So anger is very dangerous thing, dangerous defilement. You know, when a person get mad, the person does so many bad things. Sometimes they kill relatives, friends, neighbors. Sometimes he kills himself too. So that is why anger is so dangerous. So Buddha explained a couple of sutras. So how to get rid of anger. I would like to read some sutras taught by the Buddha. In the Anguttara Nikaya, there is a book called Anguttara Nikaya. In that book, there are two sutras taught by the Buddha. That sutra, the name of that sutra is called Aghata Pativinaya. Aghata means hatred. Pativinaya means elimination, elimination of hatred. Uh, Bhikkhus, there are these 5 ways of removing resentment by which a bhikkhu should entirely remove resentment when it has arisen towards anyone. What 5? One should develop loving kindness for the person uh, one resents. In this way, one should remove the resentment toward the person. Number two, one should develop compassion, karuna, for the person one resents. In this way, one should remove the resentment towards the person. Number three, one should develop equanimity towards the person one resents. In this way, one should remove the resentment towards the person. Number four, one should disregard the person one resents and pay no attention to him. In this way, one should remove the resentment towards the person. Number five, one should apply the idea of the ownership of karma to the person one resents. That is one. The other one, the other sutra, uh, the second Aghata Pativinaya Sutta discourse. There are Venerable Sariputra addressed the bhikkhus, friends. Those bhikkhus replied, the Venerable Sariputra said this, friends, there are these five ways of removing resentment by which a bhikkhu should entirely remove resentment when it has arisen towards anyone. What five? Here, a person's bodily behavior is impure, but his verbal behavior is pure. One should remove resentment towards such a person. Number two, a person's verbal behavior is impure, but his bodily behavior is pure. One should also remove resentment towards such a person. Number three, a person's bodily behavior and verbal behavior are impure, but from time to time he gains an opening of the mind, placidity of mind. One should also remove resentment towards such a person. Number four, a person's bodily behavior and verbal behavior are impure, and he does not gain an opening of the mind, placidity, placidity of mind from time to time, one should also remove resentment towards such a person. Number five, a person's bodily behavior and verbal behavior are pure, and from time to time he gains an opening of the mind, placidity of mind. One should also remove resentment towards such a person. That is how, that is a long sutra, but this is what I wanted to mention. Uh, so this is, the sutra says, this is how you should remove the resentment, anger. There are different ways of removing anger. This is what the sutra says. And let's see the first one, first factor, metta. This is very important. We can practice these qualities in your daily life. The Buddha advised us to practice these qualities to attain the higher enlightenment, higher mental uh, progress. But you can practice these qualities in your daily life. When you see, when we think about a family life, husband and wife with the children, husband should cultivate these qualities towards the wife. Wife should cultivate these qualities towards the husband. What is metta? Metta means loving kindness, goodwill, benevolence, friendliness. You can first, you should love yourself. How do you do that? May I be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. You can use this formula. Using this formula, you should develop benevolent thoughts, loving thoughts. Until your mind is full of loving thoughts, you should develop this. Then you should radiate your loving thoughts towards the wife. If you are a husband, you should radiate your loving thoughts towards the wife. May my wife be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy in that way. The second one, karuna. What is karuna? Karuna means to understand others' suffering. When husband has fallen into a trouble, wife should understand the suffering of the husband. When the wife faces some kind of problem, the husband should understand the suffering of the wife. Then mudita, what is mudita? Appreciative joy. When the husband shows the progress in his life, the wife should appreciate. When the husband brings something to her, he should appreciate. He should use appreciative words. It is not a big thing. When the wife does something good at home, the husband should appreciate. Using appreciative words, he can uh, recognize. He can do a recognition about what he did, what she did. Then mudita. Mudita means appreciative joy. Then the last one is equanimity, upekha. When you live in a family life, you have to face up and downs in your life. You have to understand the nature. This is how it happens. All the time we don't get, all the time we don't lose. When we live in the society, we have to face these type of situation. That is how you can develop these four qualities in your daily life. But when you go to the spiritual development, you should do it profoundly. You should practice metta profoundly. You should practice karuna profoundly. You should practice mudita profoundly and upekha too. So how you should do? There is a discourse uh, in the Anguttara Nikaya. In that discourse, Buddha says how you should practice metta. He has used Pali word asevita. You should pursue it. Bhavita. You should develop it. You should develop it. And bahuli katai. Bahuli katai means you should cultivate. Yani katai. Yana means vehicle. You should make it a vehicle. Then when you practice metta bhavana, you may go to a isolate place and sit comfortably and may recite the formula only only at that time. Or that is not the way. You should make it a vehicle. All the time you should practice. That is why it says yani kataya. Until you go to the destination, you are inside the vehicle. That is why you should make it a vehicle. Yani kataya. Vattu kataya. You should make it a basis, foundation. When you build a house, you make a foundation. In the same way, it should be a foundation. Anutthitai, you should carry it out. Susamaradhaya, you should properly undertake. That is how you should practice metta bhavana. It is a meditation. You should develop these loving thoughts in that way. Whatever you do, whatever you do in your daily life, all the time you should practice this quality, this good quality. When you live in the society, You should think in that way. You like to be happy, then you should think about the other person also. As I am happy, that person is also like to be happy. You should not differentiate yourself from the other person. His life is as important as yours. That is how you should think about the other person when you practice metta bhavana. When you practice metta, loving kindness meditation profoundly, there are a couple of results you can get. One is sukhang supati. You can sleep well. We know that some people cannot sleep well because daytime they get mad. Sometimes they do bad things, and at night time they think about those things and cannot sleep. So when you practice metta bhavana, you can sleep well. When you go to bed and close your eyes, immediately you can uh, be asleep. And sukhang patibhujyati, you can awake well, smilingly. We know that when some people go to bed, when they sleep, they shout, they scream because they get bad dreams. When you practice metta, loving kindness meditation, you don't have bad dreams. And manussanam piyo hoti, you are pleasing to human beings. And amanussana, you are pleasing to non-human beings too. And devata rakkanti, even deities protect you. And the other one is fire, poison, and weapons do not injure you. The other one is your mind quickly become concentrated. Your facial complexion is so serene. And one dies unconfused. If one does not penetrate further, one fares on to the Brahma world. That means if you have not attained the enlightenment in this in this very life, you will be reborn in the Brahma world. So that is the results. The metta, love is so important. So there is a story in the commentary. Uh, a cow was standing giving milk to her calf. A hunter playing with a spear in his hand thought, I will hit that cow. He threw the spear. It struck her body but bounced off like a palm leaf. So it is a story. There is it, the commentary says that story because it is not a spiritual development. She had a strong state of mind for the welfare of the calf. So very recently, I remember incident that happened in Sri Lanka. I think about a few months ago, a Western monk went to Sri Lanka. He practiced meditation very well, I know. And he was one day he was uh, going for alms round. So when he was from house to house, he was walking. When he was walking to a house, standing at the gate. The lady who was in that house didn't see the monk. She opened the cage of the dog. That dog was ferocious. He bites the people. Then, at once, immediately after she opened the gate, she saw the monk. Somebody who was there at the gate. She says that she said that she cannot uh, see well. She had eye problem, I guess. Then that ferocious dog went to that side and turned to the other side. 2 days later, that lady came to the temple and told me, Venerable sir, it is amazing. Our dog is very dangerous one. Whenever person comes to that place, he jump over him or her and bite. But amazing thing, the monk was there. That dog ran to that place and turned to the other side. He said, "Oh, I don't know whether what kind of powers he had." Then I said, "He's a good monk. He practices meditation. I think he might have practiced metta bhavana. That is why it happened." So that kind of things can be seen. Very recently, one monk passed away in Sri Lanka. He is also Western monk and very good pious monk. He liked to live in the forest. He lived in the forest. So there are many people who like him to keep in the villages, but he didn't want to stay there. He lived in the forest. One day when he was walking on the path, the baby elephant ran here and there and hit his body and fell down. His leg was broken. He couldn't stand up. He was lying down there. What happened was, whole night, a group of elephants came there and surrounded him. So he was lying down there. He was surrounded by a group of elephants whole night. In the morning, they had gone. So I received the email. So I think that monk is a meditative monk. He practiced meditation, metta meditation. When we practice metta, even ferocious animals, while animals can feel the rays, I think that is why it happens. So that is metta bhavana is very powerful. If you can practice metta bhavana, you can live a harmonious life. The karuna is karuna means to understand other suffering. So you should understand other suffering. Then some people don't think about the other people. When other people have fallen into a trouble, you should understand it. So he has a trouble. I should help him. So when you help him, you can be happy. That is karuna. Suppose there is a hungry person. You give some food. When you give some food, he eat that food and become happy. When he becomes happy, you also can be happy. That is mudita. Those four qualities are interrelated. Metta is inducive to karuna, karuna is inducive to mudita, mudita is inducive to upekha. But we have to understand that the mother's love and this love is two different. Mother's love is ego-centered, self-centered. Self-centered. When you practice self-centered love, you cannot gain happiness, because self-centered love gives unhappiness. When you practice metta profoundly, you can eliminate self. That is why you can gain happiness, by eliminating self. That is why it is called universal love. Universal love, not discriminative love. Then a mother or father loves his or her child with self-centered, with self-centeredness. But when you practice metta as a meditation practitioner, you should practice in the advanced way as a universal love. As you are happy, the other person also should be happy. Your happiness, the other person's happiness as yours. You should think in that way. When you practice meditation in that way, you can gain happiness. When you practice metta, loving kindness meditation, you can gain certain kind of mental development. That is called jhana. When you practice karuna, you can attain a certain level of absorption. The second jhana. Then the third jhana. When you attain these third jhanas, first and second, third jhanas, they are indivisible to the other one, upekha. When you attain the fourth jhana, you are in the upekha level. You have got upekha. That is the highest level of mental development. So when you have upekha, your mind is so serene. When your mind is so serene, you can see the truth as it is. Then you can turn it to the insight meditation. You know that there are two types of meditation. One is called samatha bhavana. The second one is called vipassana bhavana. Samatha bhavana means tranquility meditation. Vipassana bhavana means insight meditation. By practicing these four qualities, you can attain the tranquility meditation, the aim of tranquility meditation. When your mind is tranquil, you can see the reality as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Anicca means impermanence, dukkha means unsatisfactoriness, suffering, anatta means soullessness. So this is the purpose of practicing four qualities, Brahma Viharas. So the other one is Atta Loka Dhamma. Atta means 8. Loka Dhamma means worldly conditions. 8 vicissitudes in life. There are 8 vicissitudes. When we live in the society, in this world, we have to face these vicissitudes, changing conditions in life. That is labha, alabha, gain and loss. Yasa ayasa, fame and ill fame. Ninda pasansa, blame and praise. Sukha dukkha, happiness and suffering. These are the 8 changing conditions of life. Each and everyone has faced this kind of one, at least one or two, these kind of changing conditions. We cannot avoid it. But the thing is, we have to understand these vicissitudes in life. We like to gain things. If you are a business person, you like to get profit. You put some money in the business and make effort and get profit. When you get profit, sometimes you uh, get profit in righteous way or unrighteous way. But when you gain something, you become happy. When you lose that profit, you become unhappy. But if you are a business person, you have to understand this is the situation. This is the reality of life. One time we get, one time we lose. The other one is fame and ill fame. Sometimes we get fame, sometimes ill fame. We like to get fame, reputation. Sometimes you may spend much money for get a reputation, publicity. You spend money to uh, publish in the newspapers. To get a good reputation, you spend money. But when you have ill fame, you become unhappy. When you see the pictures, when you see your picture in the newspapers or magazines, you become happy. When somebody criticizes, you become unhappy. But that is the situation. That is the nature in the society. Sometimes people work, social workers work hard. They make every effort to support the people in the society. All of a sudden, the other people see a very shortcoming, very small shortcoming. Then they start criticizing. When they start criticizing, this person become unhappy. He thinks that, oh, I have spent much time for the well-being of others. That is how these people look at me. That is how these people criticize me. He become unhappy. But we have to understand the true nature of the society. We cannot expect, without expecting anything, you should help the other people. Depending on something, if you help others, then you have to gain unhappiness. The other one is ninda and prasansa, blame and uh, praise. Sometimes people blame you, sometimes people praise you. So you know that how the Buddha faced problems like that. I'll tell you one story that happened at that time. One day, Buddha was invited by a Brahmin to his house. So the Buddha went to that house because he invited him for the lunch, for the dana. We call it dana, lunch. So when the Buddha was reaching that house, that Brahmin started using abusive words. He poured a torrent of abusive words towards the Buddha. Then Buddha was listening. Unnecessarily, he started scolding, using abusive words. The Buddha was listening, and quietly and politely he raised a question. Brahmin, uh, do, do the guests come to your house? Then he said, yes. Then when the guests come to your house, what do you do? We prepare delicious food and uh, entertain them. If they don't accept, if they fail to accept those food, then what do you do? Then he said, I am happy. I can we can enjoy. We use that food. We enjoy that food. Then the Buddha said quietly, uh, until now you poured a torrents of abusive words. I did not accept anything. Then please take it back. Take them back. So that Brahmin was converted. He understood the, the greatness of the Buddha. He was converted. So that is how the Buddha faced. When somebody use abusive words towards you, if you can be silent in that way, what a wonderful person you are. So that is how the Buddha faced. So those are very exemplary stories for us. There are many stories like that. So that is blame and praise. When somebody praise you, you like it. When somebody blame you, you don't like it. Whatever work they ask you to do, you do when they praise you. That, but we have to understand when we live in the society, we have to face these both type of words, praising words and blaming words. And the sukha and dukkha. Sukha means happiness. Dukkha means suffering. Sometimes we get happiness, sometimes we get suffering. So we have to understand that. So these desirable and non-desirable things happen in the world. We have to face. One day, there is another story. I will tell this story because it is very effective for us to understand the true nature life. Mhm. One lady lost a small infant. Then she got upset. Uh, she didn't understand that the infant was dead. She took that infant in her hand and ran here and there in search of a remedy. Then the people saw that lady and they uh, turned her to the temple where the Buddha lived. While she was approaching the Buddha, she made a request. Venerable sir, please cure my son. Then Buddha understood the emotional state of that lady. And he said, okay, sister, I will cure your son. Then she was very happy. Then you have to bring some mustard seeds. It is not a big thing. Uh, she was, she, she thought that it would be very easy. She started running to bring mustard seeds. When she left, the Buddha said, sister, you have to some mustard seeds from a house where uh, death, no one died, death had not visited. Then she went to a house and asked them for mustard seeds. They were happy to give some mustard seeds. They gave. Before she took them, she raised the question whether somebody died in that house. Then they said, my grandfather died, my mother died, my sister died, then gave the list of the people, members in the house. Then she said, no, I don't need mustard seed from this house. She went to another house and asked them for mustard seeds. They gave mustard seeds. Before she took the, she raised the same question. She got the same answer. She refused them and went to another house. She went from house to house. She was able to find mustard seeds, but she couldn't find mustard from mustard seeds from a house where death had not visited. By that time, she understood this is the nature. This is the nature of life. She realized the nature. Then she went to the temple and listened to the Dhamma and got enlightened. So these are very important for us to understand the nature of life. So in worldly conditions, we get upset. That is why Buddha said, Selo yata ek gano vate nasamirati. As a solid rock is not shaken by the wind, even so the wise are not troubled by praise or blame. That is what the Buddha said. That is the state of the Arahant, enlightened one. Then you may be shaken by uh, blame or fame, but the enlightened one is not shaken. Is not shaken by the 8 vicissitudes of life. But when you understand the nature of the life, you can console your mind to a certain extent. That is why it is very important to understand these changing conditions in life. Okay, that is what I wanted to tell you today. I think you might have got a certain amount of knowledge on the subject, Brahma Viharas and the 8 vicissitudes of life. I think you are free to raise questions if you have.
Yeah, thank you, Bante. And now we can open the floor for the questions. Please bring your questions, maybe in verbally, or you can type it in the chat box. So in any form, you can ask your questions. So any questions welcomed, even not in the not related to the topic that we are talking tonight. If it is related to the topic, we more than welcome. But if it is not, but that's fine too.
There is a question, Bante. My question is regarding the loving kindness or metta. Can you engage in this during meditation? You mean at this time you are inviting me to give some instructions? Or we don't have that much time, I guess. There is another question. I'll give you the first question. The first one is actually you can use the formula. I think at this time this is not the suitable time for us to practice meditation, we have a short period. You can use the formula, as I said. First, you should love yourself. Uh, you can use the formula, may I be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. In the same way, you can expand your loving thoughts the towards all beings in your house. May all beings in my house be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. After that, you can expand your loving thoughts towards living beings in this area, the city, then towards the province. May all beings in this province be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. After that, you can expand little more, the furthermore, to the world, to the country, then to the world. May all living beings in the world be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. Then you can expand furthermore to the whole universe. When you practice, when you develop your loving thoughts, universal loving kindness towards all living beings, you can use the formula. May all beings in the universe, without exceptions, without limits, without bounds, be well, comfortable, peaceful, and happy. That is how you can expand your loving thoughts towards whole universe, towards all living beings in the universe. That is how you should practice um, Metta Bhavana. There is another question. Can he list the 8 conditions again, please? 8 conditions: gain and loss. You need. First I will tell you the Pali words: labha, alabha, gain and loss, yasa, ayasa, fame and ill fame, ninda, pasansa, praise, ninda, pasansa, blame and praise, sukha, dukkha, happiness and pain. These are the 8 changing conditions. There is another question. From Yuan Murray to everyone. If you don't react when someone is angry, I find they calm down. Yes, is this a good thing to do, worker? Yeah, it is a good thing. If you can be calm, your mind, then it is the way. You should not be emotional. And the other one. And Corey says, very helpful, useful. These 8 conditions are, and love to study more of these 8. Thank you.
So if you have more questions, please send it this way, or if you don't have any, and we can conclude the session. Yeah, Bhante, I think we better to conclude the session for today. And we really appreciate your time and coming and sharing your wisdom with us. And we really enjoyed your talk tonight. And thank you again. I hope everyone enjoyed
You're
tonight.
welcome.
Yeah. And also, I invite everyone to join for the next session as well. Next week, Chandanand is joining from the California. Bante will be speaking on 5 aggregates. So that's the basic Buddhist teaching. So please be connected for the next week as well. And then see you next week. And thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bante.